Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and you're listening to another episode of the world famous University Love, the best podcast in one, two, three galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. We are coming to you live today. Today, we are shout out of Buchanan. Ladies and gents, how are you? How are you? How are you? We have a very exciting program for you today. Today, we are going to talk about scamming. We're going to talk about scamming, and we was going to talk about this yesterday, but then I got the blabbing and yapping and toe tapping, and I got to talking about relationships and you know uh, Dwight Howard and all that jazz. But today we are going to talk. I saw a guy. This is why. Sorry, I'm drinking water. It's very hot today. But listen. The reason why you need to, the reason why you should create your content, ladies and gents, because you know I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, it's an unfortunate situation. It's an unfortunate thing. You and I, folks, you are bright. Okay, you are smart. You have intelligence. You have common sense. If you listen to this show, you know you have common sense because this is a common sense show. At the end of the day, you boil it all down. This is a show about common sense. I am not here to sell you a dream. I'm not here to sell you a bunch of BS. You know, I am here to, give you wisdom, give you information, give you knowledge, entertain you somewhat, a lot. Hopefully you feel entertained, of course we have to entertain that, but we are here, we are here to give off information. We are here to help the people out. But, ladies and gentlemen, one thing about being in the black community, ladies and gentlemen, the black people, unfortunately, they love a scammer. Okay, and what do I mean by that? They love the flashy. They love the bling bling. Oh man, black excellence. Oh, you know, listen. If I ain't told you once, I told you a million times, ladies and gents. You gotta. It doesn't matter if you're black. Doesn't matter what race you are, what nationality. Doesn't matter if your grandparents came off the boat. Does not matter. None of that matters. At the end of the day, you are your own individual person, and you are not abhorred. You are not. You are not tied. You're not bound down to a group. You know. You know that. I know that. Hopefully, you know that. But I know you're not tied down to a group. A lot of times in the black community, we think we are all, we are all one. We are all one, but we ain't. We're not all one. You know, everybody wants to be one when it's convenient for them. The celebrity, something happens to them where instead of them getting 2 million bucks, for a movie, they get 1.5 million. Man, that racist. Y'all feel me? Uh, no, we don't. If somebody offered me $1.5 million for a movie, I've never done a movie. I would take it right now. I don't care how long. How long we got to shoot? They say 2 months. 2 months. Okay. What I got to do? Stand here and pretend like you're in the rain or something for an hour. Oh, okay. You paying me $1.5 million? Okay. Because I'm not in Hollywood. I don't understand any of that. All I know is you're paying me to be in front of a camera and you're gonna pay me $1.5 million. Okay. Eventually I would leave the world that I'm in now, and I would be like, I'm a Hollywood star. So why am I not making, but it's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times, in the black community, people want to throw you like, hey, they see you black man, It's like the NBA player. If you're in the NBA or the WNBA, I'll give you a perfect example. The WNBA, it's like 70, it's the majority of the women in the WNBA are black. Okay, And a lot of times in the WNBA, they complain about the pay, which is like, hey man, you getting paid. Um, you only work so many dates. You work in the summertime. You only play so many games, and they're like, oh, I can't feed my family. And it's like, you're making $250,000. If you can't feed your family with $250,000, that sounds like a personal problem, you know? But these people will be like, they need to get paid like the NBA. And we all know, folks, you don't get paid what you think you paid. Listen, I swear to you, I should be a millionaire truck driver, okay? Truck driving should pay me $1 million a year. All truck drivers should get paid $1 million a year. You give up a lot of time for a little bit of money, but it's not the case. What you can do is you can add value to yourself. You can market yourself, build up a name, build up a brand, do whatever, and then you can charge out the wazoo. You can charge what you want to charge. Okay, that's the American way. That's the capitalism way. That's it. At the end of the day, that's it. And a lot of times in the black community, if you trying to build a brand, people want to hear, they want to see you wearing, flashy clothes or bling bling, And this is how a lot of people fall for a lot of these scammers. And so I saw a guy, he had a podcast called Rich and Unemployed. And I thought, that's a stupid name for a show. I would never listen to a show like that because, for one, you know, uh, you can be rich, but you might be unemployed, but you're probably an entrepreneur. Of course, this guy probably claimed he was I'm an entrepreneur, this, that, and the other. But the feds came and picked him up on the good old federales came and picked him up. PPP loan scam, of course. And of course, he was taking pictures in front of, Lamborghinis and Bentleys, and you see it all the time. To me, that's not a turn on to me. That's a turn off because I don't give it's like one time I was working for this guy. I was hauling gas a long time ago. And this guy, he was always in the office showing us his car. I personally did not give a damn about his car. Why? I'm trying to get my own car, man. You barely want to pay me all this gas, but you got the nerve to show me something about a car. Hey, it is what it is. He was the owner of the business. I get it. He had more skin in the business than I did, but I really didn't care about his car. Some people were impressed. Some people were like, see, he doing good, man. He can kick us some. He can kick us down some more money. He wasn't ever gonna kick us down no more money. You know what I'm saying? It's like you see a scammer like Diddy, and not even talking about. I'm not even talking about the rape case. I'm talking about Diddy is a scammer because Diddy, he would get them artists, he wouldn't pay them artists. I watched the season of Making the Band. I lost a lot of respect for P Diddy because the people making music, and he didn't want to pay them people. And it's like you doing all this work, you create music, and you got this guy. He's like, nah, I don't want to pay you. And so you got the Diddy's of the world, and Tyler Perry. He's known for being cheap, and you see these people all the time. They're like, oh, they trying to stop us because we black, and it's like, nah, I can't go with y'all, man, because y'all don't like to pay the people y'all got. Yeah, Tyler Perry, he'll pay Janet Jackson millions and millions of dollars, of course, because Janet Jackson has a big old platform. And you think you're gonna cheat Janet Jackson out of money? Nope, because she'll say Tyler Perry didn't pay me nothing. They say he paid Taraji P Henson a bunch of money. Of course he gonna pay her. She got a big old platform. She can say Tyler Perry didn't pay me nothing, and people will listen. The guy that nobody knows that wrote the script, he don't have to pay them nothing because what is who is he going to talk to, and what are people going to say? We don't believe you. We need more people, and it's just how it goes. And so they're like, oh, let's create our own table. But it's like, Tyler Perry, you don't want us at your table. Diddy, you don't want us at your table. Uh, I heard a line from Jay Z one time. He's like, it's like, we need more of us. He's like, nah, there's plenty of us. That sounds about right. And so I'm telling y'all this not to, you know, not to talk bad about anybody or anything like that. But what I'm telling you is there is a way to tap into the black community, because you have to say generational wealth. You have to talk about we, a bunch of we, but it's never the we. They want you to give them their money. And so they had a podcast, Rich and Unemployed, and they would give a little general knowledge, of course, because that's what people do when they scam. They give general knowledge. And they would give general knowledge. And of course, they got picked up by the feds, and the guy's probably going to go to jail for a while. And what I'm telling you is, you see all these scam artists. It don't matter who they are. You, you see it all the time. They're in a plane. They're in front of a car. They're in front of a mansion. I'm just wondering how are people still falling for this. I'm so confused. I am so baffled, and how people are still falling for the same old scam. This guy, he was on a podcast called Earn Your Leisure, and those guys, they have a nice platform, but those guys, they house a lot of scammers. Okay, from they got this guy 96 keys, 69 keys. I saw him on there before. He talks about vibration. What? A lot of hoo ha ha. Listen, I believe in the Lord Almighty, but all that other stuff, nah. Miss me with all that. And it's just, you know, at this point, how can people fall for the scam? How there are sometimes I get it, but when it's so obvious and when it's right in your face, I guess people know it's a scam, but they don't. But they just want to see how far they can get with the scam. And easy money, and people think money is easy. Listen, if you the unfortunate thing about getting rich, the unfortunate thing about making money, and the unfortunate thing about being an entrepreneur and doing things for yourself, just like this podcast, this show, this is a labor of love. This is labor intensive. This is a lot of work, a lot of mental work. And I do this show, I record, I upload, I write it, you know, uploading on the TikTok, uploading on the YouTube. It's a lot of work. It's mentally exhausting. And I get it. I see why people sometimes they're like, man, I gotta take a break, this, that, and the other. This stuff is mentally exhausting. But the reason why it's mentally exhausting is because you're trying to figure out how far I can go. What can I do? What do I need? Where should I go? Who should I talk to? Where can I shoot this at? Where can I promote this at? You want to get, of course you want to get as large as possible. So that's the rub. But a lot of times people want to take shortcuts. In life, you know, man, it really ain't no shortcut. I can tell you how to get a podcast started. I can tell you everything that I do. I can tell you everything that I learn. But until you just go out and start doing it yourself, it ain't gonna do you no good. That's why whenever we talk about stuff on here, whenever I start selling, tapes and all that, I'm gonna tell you up front, apply what you apply what you heard, apply it immediately. Don't hesitate, don't wait. Go ahead and apply the stuff, because you're going to need to apply it for it to work. You sitting around listening to me and then like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. That sounds good. No, you need to apply it. And the reason why you need to apply it, because if you don't apply it, you'll never do it. And then when you don't do it, you're gonna say, oh, this guy is a liar. This guy scammed me. And there are certain people that are scammers, but a lot of times we call everybody a scammer. Why do we call everybody a scammer? Because you didn't do the work. Now, if you're stealing $10 million from a PPP loan, you are definitely a thief. You're a bit of a scammer. If you're taking pictures in front of a jet, that never gets off the ground, and you're like lifestyle, jet set lifestyle. You might be in the scamming business. I know a lot of people. They say, they see Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett started doing stocks when he was like 15 years old. He was interested in the market at a young age, and he just worked at it. Uh, you can do the same thing. The notion of you saying, they never taught us that. After a while, you can't say that after a while. Once you become an adult, you become an adult. And how you want to focus your life is how you want to focus your life. But to say they never taught me this, they never taught me that, listen, your parents might be like my parents. You know, they wasn't millionaires. They couldn't tell me, well, Tone, this is how you become a millionaire. No, they can't. They can tell me other things, but they can't tell me how to become a millionaire. Um, I could tell my daughter how to save money, how to save a lot of money, how to invest money. I could show her that. I could teach her that. I could teach her how to, pay bills on time. I could show her a lot of things. I probably won't be able to show her how to become a billionaire. You know, Financially independent. I could put her on the path of that. You know, I can't show her how to be a billionaire. No, I can help her along the way. But just like my parents helped me, they couldn't show me how to be a millionaire. I can't show my daughter how to be a billionaire. I can say, hey, dude, but what I'm saying is you have to apply what you learn. And a lot of times people don't apply what they learn. Then they blame and they say everything is a scam. Some things are a scam. Don't get me wrong. I know that. There's a lot of scam. There's a lot of scams out here. But a lot of times you want to get scammed because you fall for the same old. You fall for the Lamborghini, the Lambo. You fall for the jet. You fall for the watch. You fall for the couple that dresses all nice and they standing by the car and they posing. You fall for that because you want to live like that, but you're too afraid to do anything about it. These people are living like that under false pretense. You can live like that, but you're gonna have to put in the work. You know, People that make it to the NBA, it's just like when you make it to the NBA, they don't make it to the NBA by luck. Yeah, you can be tall, you can be 6'7", don't mean you gonna make it. It's a better chance. You have a greater chance. But there's been people 5'11", 6 foot, they make it. Muggsy Bogues, he was short. He worked very hard. Everybody in the NBA works hard to get to the NBA. Do they work hard once they get to the NBA? I don't know. But I know they work hard to get to the NBA. And if you want to get somewhere in life, you got to put in the hard work. It's unfortunate. I know. Just like before, I used to think, man, you got to work hard, work hard, work hard. Mentally, I got to work. I'm working mentally hard to get this all together. I'm doing more writing every day. I write now, upload the little stuff on TikTok. I write an article every day, put it on Medium. I'm gonna start sticking to one subject. You know, I've been reaching out to companies about copywriting. Trying to get some clients. Got to start doing some cold calling. I've been putting letters in the mail. It's hard work. I'm very tired, but this is the main focus. This is the main focus, and I'm tired, but I enjoy it. I like it because I know I'll be working from home soon, so that's always been my goal in the last 5 years. Just all right, let's figure this out. And of course, I love doing the podcast. I love talking to you. And for me, I just say, hey, listen to this show. You're never gonna get you're never gonna get the flash. You're never gonna get the if you do this, you'll be a trillionaire tomorrow. You're gonna get the honest truth. You're gonna get the meat and potatoes of the situation. All right. Watch out for the scammer, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be a scammer. Scammers go to jail. You go to jail, you get raped. Okay. I worked at a prison before. Prison is not prison is not Oz. It is not, well, it might be Oz. It is not pretty. It's not glamorous. Gang banging ain't glamorous. Prison ain't glamorous. Crime is not glamorous, ladies and gents. All right. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all of you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with all the episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Zano. Thank you for listening. God bless. And as always, everybody, peace.